This morning we have some breaking news as crews are on scene of a large structure fire at Larch Court in Central Columbia. ABC 17's Christy Crawford is at the scene and we'll go to her in just a minute. But first, here's ABC 17 Storm Track meteorologist Bridget Mahoney with your out-the-door forecast.
Yeah, we have an ABC 17 storm track weather alert for you this morning. That's as we are in a winter weather advisory for most areas south of I-70. This goes in effect late this afternoon until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. It's not looking like a major winter storm, but we could see a few minor impacts due to a glaze of ice. That is possible by later on today. But for now, the morning commute, we are dry. That doesn't mean there's not slick spots out there. Use a little extra caution as you head out the door this morning. That's from last night's little icy event. Temperatures are cold as well. 14 degrees right now in Columbia, 17 in Jefferson City. On top of that, wind chills are in the low single digits. Very cold day ahead as we track that increasing chance of snow and even a little bit of ice. I'll let you know what areas are going to be most impacted coming up here at 6:07. Lindsay.
Breaking news this morning as crews are at the scene of a residential structure fire at Larch Court in Columbia. ABC 17's Christy Crawford is at the scene right now. And Christy, what are you seeing?
Well, Lindsay, we thought that the fire may have been extinguished because we were seeing less smoke and we weren't seeing any flames from where we were standing. But just 2 minutes ago, that was not the case. We can still see flames. I'll step out of the way coming from the roof of the building. It's still a very active scene. I know that Columbia Water and Light crews came about 30 minutes ago to turn off the electricity. I know there's still Columbia police are here. They have ambulance on standby just in case that they are needed. We did see earlier firefighters having some issues with the slipperiness because of how cold it is and the water that they're using. It's creating icy conditions for them to fight this fire. So right now I have contacted the PIO for the Columbia Fire Department. I haven't heard back yet, so we don't know if we're going to be able to talk to anybody within the next 10 or 15 minutes, but I am trying to get someone to let us know any information about what is going on right now. Obviously, I want to let the crews who are here right now work and get that fire extinguished, but as soon as I get any information, I will give you an update. Reporting live in Columbia, Christy Crawford, ABC 17 News.
And I'm Joe McLean here in the ABC 17 newsroom as school closures, cancellations, and delays continue to pour in. In just the last few minutes, Special Learning Center in Jefferson City, as well as Kingdom Christian Academy in Fulton, have called to cancel classes. Now we're also aware of some other big closures, including Columbia Public Schools has announced they will cancel classes today. Jefferson City Public Schools still on a 2-hour delayed start this morning. Other big closures: Mexico, South Callaway R2, North Callaway R1, Centralia Public Schools, all canceling classes for your Tuesday. Dozens more of these schools and organizations already added to our closure list, and you can see a full list on abc17news.com. We also have it scrolling at the bottom of your screen. And again, I am updating that constantly, minute by minute, so you can always see an updated list there. So be sure to check that before you're heading out the door. Lindsay.
Thanks, Joan. As you're waking up this morning, you could run into some slick road conditions on your morning commute. Crews across mid-Missouri worked to treat the roads both yesterday and Sunday. MoDOT was fully staffed at all of their Missouri maintenance buildings overnight, but even though roads have been treated, you could still run into some slick conditions in roads and sidewalks. MoDOT says it's a good idea to check the traveler information map before you head out the door this morning to see if your route is clear. You can see there are some of those blue and light blue routes on your screen. Those are partly covered or mostly clear condition. It's also a good idea to give yourself some extra time.
Slow down. Be mindful. If somebody's going slow, be mindful of those folks and slow down also, and take your time and just be cautious.
MoDOT is constantly updating that traveler information map. We have a link to it on our website at abc17news.com. In just a few hours, the Missouri Supreme Court will hear an appeal from the state attorney general in the case of a mid-Missouri prosecutor who's facing felony charges. We've told you Shane Haley is accused of driving into Addison's in 2014 before leaving the scene. He faces felony assault charges. Last year, Josh Hawley's office was removed from the case when an appeals court ruled it mishandled evidence from Columbia Police in Haley's case. Hawley's office filed an appeal to the Supreme Court in July. We'll be closely following the case and bringing you updates on air and online as they're available. The city of Columbia is moving forward with a multi-million-dollar trail project. The council heard 2 hours of public comment on the Shepherd to Rollins Hill Trail. It would connect the neighborhood off Old 63 near a stadium to MU's campus once built, at the cost of nearly $2.5 million. Opponents of the trail say the nearly $2.5 million price is too expensive. They wanted to see improvements to stadium for pedestrians. Councilman Ian Thomas says that would have only made things more dangerous for pedestrians due to the fast-moving traffic.
Nobody is going to take up walking or bicycling to university or to their jobs if that's the route they have to take.
Parks and Recreation staff says it will take a year to build once they start construction. So far, no date is set for that. This morning, a new report suggests President Trump and Robert Mueller may not be agreeing to a face-to-face interview soon. The New York Times reported yesterday that the president's attorneys are trying to keep him from agreeing to an interview in the special counsel's investigation. His attorneys are apparently worried about potentially incriminating statements the president could make. They also apparently don't believe Mueller would be willing to subpoena Trump. The president has said he would be glad to talk with Mueller and insisted there was no collusion with Russia in the 2016 election. Finally, a former White House official could be found in contempt if he doesn't appear for testimony before the House Intelligence Committee today. Former Chief Strategist Steve Bannon reportedly will not show up for his court-ordered testimony today. The White House and committee are apparently disagreeing about the scope of the questioning. One representative said he expects Bannon to comply, even though Bannon has said he will only answer specific questions about his time in the White House and not during the transition or the campaign.
The time now is 6:07 with your ABC 17 Storm Track weather alert. We are weather alerting you. That is due to a winter weather advisory in effect for mainly areas south of I-70 later on today until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. This is as we are going to see winter weather across all of mid-Missouri, but actually south of Jefferson City, that is where we see that better potential for an icy mix as well as snowfall on top of that. But everywhere we'll see a little bit of snow as you head a little bit further to the northwest. That is where we expect a little bit heavier snowfall totals. But for now, we are dry. Clouds building into the area and temperatures are cold. Wind chill right now 5 degrees in Columbia, 10 in Jefferson City as well as Moberly. -2 is what it feels like once you get outside in Macon this morning. So very, very cold, and that's not going to change by later on this afternoon. High temperatures rise to 25 degrees. That's around 3 p.m. today. And wind chills remaining several degrees lower than that actual air temperature. We'll feel like 18 degrees right around 3 as well. So here's the winter weather setup. We are going to see snow totals mainly less than 2 inches. Most of mid-Missouri actually seeing less than 1 inch of snow, and a glaze of ice is possible for parts of mid-Missouri. And of course, those wind chills will drop into the single digits yet again. Here's a look at the timing of it. It looks to begin north of I-70 right around 3 to 4 p.m. So we see that slight chance. It will spread just a little bit, looking like the bulk of it holding off till after 6 p.m. this evening and then dwindling down by your Wednesday morning. So there's a look at that glaze of ice. That is possible. Really Jefferson City into the south, anywhere from Rolla, Osage Beach, Camdenton, Owensville, getting in on that little bit of an icy action today. On top of that, we are going to see some snowfall totals. You can see around that area with ice anywhere up to 1 to 2 inches. Most of mid-Missouri receiving an inch or less from Columbia down to California. Versailles and Sedalia and Marshall included in that. North, we could see yet again up to 2 inches. Overall, very cold night ahead, 16 degrees overnight low tonight. We remain cold tomorrow, so we could see some more impacts to your Wednesday morning commute, but changes are in the forecast. I'm tracking hour by hour snow tracker for tonight and a look ahead to your weekend.
Coming up on ABC 17 News this morning, where the news comes first.
This morning, a grand jury is apparently investigating claims of blackmail against Governor Eric Greitens. We'll tell you what one attorney had to say about the update. The time now is 6:10. Welcome back. The time now is 6:13. A grand jury is apparently investigating Governor Eric Greitens' case of blackmail allegations. The attorney for the man whose ex-wife had an affair with the governor says a subpoena is calling for his client to testify in St. Louis. Governor Greitens admitted last month to an affair with his hairdresser back in 2015 and a secret recording. The woman claims the governor threatened to use a compromising photo of her if she talked about the affair. Governor Greitens has denied any allegations aside from the affair. A new report from Missouri's Attorney General says the state paid out $23 million in lawsuits last year. The report shows a total of 45 payouts, including 16 employee discrimination cases. 6 of those came from employees of the Missouri Department of Corrections. The report says $8.1 million were used for discrimination and harassment suits. Missouri's auditor says the number could be even higher, with some agencies using private attorneys that wouldn't be listed. Coming up, we'll have another live report from ABC 70's Christy Crawford from the scene of this structure fire on Larch Court in Central Columbia. The time now is 6:14.
And we have another shot of winter weather as we end today. Also, I'm tracking a cold weekend ahead. I'll let you know how that could be impacting those plans coming up here at 6:17. The time now, 6:17. We are looking at yet another shot of some winter weather as we head into the second part of your Tuesday. That could give us a little bit of snowfall, mainly north of I-70. We could see anywhere up to 2 inches. Also, some slick spots could be possible. We are seeing a slight chance for a little bit of ice, just limited to really a glaze, which could cause continued road impacts all the way through tomorrow morning. So something we are going to be watching all day long. Stay up to date with us throughout the entire day today. 13 degrees right now in Columbia, feeling like 9 degrees out there. So it's a bitterly cold start yet again, and this is going to be the trend all day long. Temperatures not going too far today. 22 degrees by around 1 p.m. with that wind chill right at 17. That is with those winds out of the east up to 9 miles per hour. So just bundle up as you head out the door. You're going to be happy to have that coat with you, as well as those hat, gloves, and scarves. So something important, also bundle those kids up, of course. Here's a look at the weather setup for today. We're starting the clock at 11 a.m. this morning. Clouds through the area for the entire day. Not much sun is expected later on this afternoon. By around 3 p.m., we could see a slight chance of snow, mainly north of I-70. That is going to continue. This snow looks to hang out well to our northwest, so that's good news for those snowfall totals here in mid-Missouri. As we head into the later evening hours, it looks to expand. We are going to see a little bit of a split here in mid-Missouri. Columbia looking like the battle zone, not going to receive much here, but you can see at 11 p.m. this evening, still seeing some snow from Macon to Monroe. You can see that there, and then along I-44, seeing some snowfall there. You can see the freezing line is well to the south, but that could be lifting just a little bit, and if it shifts, we could see a light ice accumulation for areas from Jefferson City off to the south. We die out by 2 a.m., dry across all of mid-Missouri, and that continues for your Wednesday morning commute. Here's another look at snowfall totals. Not terribly impressive, so this isn't a major winter storm, but with a little bit of ice to our far southern counties, it could be slick out there. 9/10 of an inch in Columbia, 1 inch in Jefferson City. Further to the north, it gets a little bit trickier. You're going to see bigger snow differences in a shorter distance. Over an inch in Macon, not quite an inch in Brunswick. So we do have moderate impacts to the travel forecast as early as this evening, especially as you head a little bit further north of I-70 as well as near I-44. We see improvements though as we head into Thursday and Friday, but that is going to be short-lived. Temperatures drop off through the entire weekend, so below average as we head into your Saturday and Sunday. Not looking like a great weekend to get out and about, as we are looking at another chance of rain and snow. Still a little bit far out, though, so we are going to continue to track that through the week, but a cold day in store with a little bit of snow.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Bridget. Now back to our breaking news this morning as crews are still on the scene of a large house fire on Larch Court in Columbia. ABC 17's Christy Crawford is live at the scene right now. And Christy, you just talked to some officials.
I did, and they're telling me that when firefighters first arrived around 4:40 this morning, that's when they got the alarm to come out here, was firefighters noticed that there is heavy fire coming from the roof of the building, and then they called the second alarm once they realized that it was just too big of a building and there was too much fire for them to handle it with that first crew arriving, so they added more crews to help out. They also said that there were no injuries reported. The building is it's believed to be vacant. They did call Columbia Water and Light out, who confirmed that there was no power connected to the building. Crews will still be here for at least a couple of more hours trying to get some hot spots. The fire has been extinguished, though, so the fire is extinguished, but right now crews are going inside the apartment building trying to find any hot spots that may have been hidden and try to extinguish any and all fire that may still be inside. Reporting live in Columbia, Christy Crawford, ABC 17 News.
All right, thanks, Chrissy. Very active scene there. The time now is 6:22. Coming up, the NFL had a good game on its biggest night Sunday, but still couldn't get good ratings news. We'll tell you more about those ratings numbers, but first, here's ABC's Diane Macedo.
In this morning's GMA First Look, after winning a Powerball jackpot of more than $500 million, one woman is suing the New Hampshire Lottery Commission for the right to remain anonymous.
It is worth $559.7 million.
Lawyers say the plaintiff, Jane Doe, deeply values her privacy and wants to distribute her winnings far from the glare and misfortune that has often fallen upon other lottery winners. Currently, only 6 states allow winners to collect money anonymously.
The average consumer is not walking into a convenience store, buying a lottery ticket, and reading the fine print. Most winners, they don't have an option to remain anonymous.
The New Hampshire Lottery tells ABC News, while we respect this player's desire to remain anonymous, state statutes and lottery rules clearly dictate protocols. And we have more on the lottery lawsuit coming up at 7 a.m. With your GMA First Look, I'm Diane Macedo, ABC News, New York.
Welcome back. The time now is 6:27. Well, the ratings are in for this year's Super Bowl, and there's not much good news to be found for the NFL. Despite a close game that came down to the wire, the game had its smallest audience since 2009. 103.4 million people tuned in to watch, down about 8 million from last year's game. It follows a trend of low viewership for the NFL this year amid criticism from the president and civil rights groups.
The time now 6:27. We are dry across most of mid-Missouri, but we are seeing clouds on the increase. I've also seen a couple reports of some light snowfall out there. That's at the Lake of the Ozarks as well as Rolla. You can see that blue appearing on the map. If we see anything this morning, it is going to be limited to really just flurries or light snow showers. So just be aware of that as you head out the door through the day. We are going to see temperatures rise to 25 degrees with that bitterly cold start in the forecast. We are tracking some light snow totals as we head into this evening and early tomorrow morning. I'll have the latest track of that coming up in the next half hour.
And ABC 17 News is continuing to track a large fire in central Columbia. We'll have another live update from our crews on scene in a couple minutes. Stay with us.